It's that time of year where we start to plan what we're going to be doing next year. Because I know we are thinking about it, and because I know it's possible you are thinking about it, I thought today what I'd talk to you about is the kind of gear that you almost have to have with you when you take a motorcycle trip. So stick around, and hopefully I'll answer some of your questions, maybe give you something to think about you hadn't thought about before. This is Jim. Welcome back to J Street Moto. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time. Like, subscribe, click the notification bell. Comment. I'd love to get some comments, especially on these kinds of topics. One of the things I consider is geographically where are we going to be riding and what time of year are we going to be going through there. We do a little bit of legwork to understand what's the normal climate in the areas we're going to be riding through at that time of year. And then we use that to determine what kind of stuff we should bring on the bike, what kind of stuff we have to have on the bike. Like if I was just going to go from here to, say, Mississippi, to go to a casino down there, we were just going to spend a weekend, probably not going to put the same kind of thought into that as I would if we were going to be climbing on the bikes and riding to, say, California or Utah or Oregon or Washington State. That's going to require a different level of planning and thinking. And so, in a nutshell, what you're going to end up finding, or at least what I have found over the years, I pretty much need to plan for every kind of weather that I could possibly have to ride through. That means I have a couple of essential pieces of gear that I always bring with me when I'm taking a trip. One of those pieces of gear should always be on your bike, whether you're taking a trip or not, in my opinion. That's rain gear. And you need to not go cheap on that. Going cheap on your rain gear is just going to cost you later. You're going to end up having to replace it sooner. It's not going to keep your shit dry. You know, worst case scenario, it's really annoying to ride in it because some of the stuff is fitted better than others and starts flapping in the breeze, or worse yet, turns into a giant ass sail. So yeah, you need rain gear, and you need good rain gear. Try on some different stuff. Find something that you like, that feels comfortable on you, that fits. When you're doing that, I also suggest you find something that you can get a couple of sizes larger, that you can expand or tighten. That way, if you are riding in rain in a very cold area, you can fit your rain gear over top of whatever your cold weather gear is. Which brings me to the next thing you gotta have. Cold weather gear. You need to have something that can keep the wind off of you and can keep you warmer. What I tend to do, because I've got a decent set of leathers that were given to me by a very dear friend who's no longer with us. And so in honor of him, I tend to bring those as my cold weather gear. So I have leather pants that I can put on top of pretty much any underlayer I've got on the bottom, whether it's riding jeans or riding jeans with long johns. I can fit those leather pants over top. They fit just fine, they're comfortable, and they keep my legs warm. The other thing I have is a really good leather jacket, and that's one, Gary gave me both of them. And leather jacket's got to be insulated. It's going to block some of that wind, and it has to be big enough that you can fit some layers underneath it. Just going to be honest with you. Because the weather changes when you're on the road, and you bounce back and forth between needing it and not needing it. So it helps if you can layer up, and that way when you take stuff off, or as the day warms up, you can just shed a couple of layers and stick those layers back on your bike somewhere, and bada bing, bada boom. All of a sudden you are comfortable again. And then if it gets cold, you just put the layers back on. So yeah, cold weather gear, rain gear, for sure, those two. Because gloves are a different topic altogether, and we are going to talk about them right now. So, gloves. I suggest you don't go cheap on them. I've got about 4 different pair of gloves that I wear or that I bring with me when I go on these trips. Got a pair like this. These breathe a lot more, and they're almost, during the summer, they almost give me the same feeling as wearing fingerless gloves, which I also carry on the bike. Third pair that I carry is a set of leather gloves. And these are what I'd call summer leather gloves. So they're thinner leather. They have holes in them so that you can, so that they breathe. But yeah, I bring those gloves with me. And then I have my, holy shit, it's cold. I've got no other choice. I got to wear these gloves. Is a good way to put them. They're my winter gloves. Both my winter and my summer leather gloves are Siddiqui brand, and I got nothing negative to say about them. They've treated me fine. This is my third pair of the summer leather gloves that I have from them, and I love them. And it's the second pair of winter gloves that I have from them. And they are gauntlet type gloves, and I do recommend that for when you're looking at the gloves that are going to be what you wear when it really gets cold and you really need to keep warm. I strongly recommend going with a gauntlet type glove rather than a regular type glove. And the reason for that is you can get some material up over your sleeve, and it keeps wind from getting into your armholes of your jacket, which can get kind of annoying if it's happening and you're getting cold. So yeah, gloves, big deal. Next one, helmets. Now, when I take a trip, I tend to bring 2 helmets. I bring a brain bucket, or a half helmet, and then I bring my full. And pretty much, I could do the whole trip in the half. The only reason I bring the full with me is in the event that it gets really freaking cold, or in the event that we're having to spend a day going through the rain. I prefer to wear my full helmet when it's raining and when it's cold over the half. And that's, it's just a preference. Now, I have found that you can cut some of the sting from the rain when it's hitting you in the face and you're wearing a half helmet. You can cut some of that by wearing one of those, I'll call them a gaiter or a buff. I don't know what you call them, but those stretchy material things you pull over your head to keep your face a little warm. But if you get the ones that are thicker, they tend to absorb some of the water, and it doesn't sting as bad when you're riding in the rain. Of course, if it's cold, you're screwed because now you got a wet sock on your face and it's cold. So, there's gives and takes with this. But yeah, I always bring 2 helmets. One that I can use if shit's really hitting the fan, and one that I'm going to prefer for most of the trip just because I enjoy riding in a half. Let's talk underlayers. I have a pair of long john pants from Carhartt that I wear, and they work really freaking good. In fact, I have them on today underneath my riding khakis, and it's 50 degrees right now, and I'm toasty warm. I'm fine. But yeah, I wear those. I've got a really good thick pair of wool socks that I'll wear in my shoes because your feet will get cold too. Just like gloves, shoes, the cold just turns the shoe cold and it ends up making your foot cold. So, But yeah, I'll bring a pair of socks. I also have these things that I put underneath my gloves. And it's freeze out. I get it in cycle gear. But they're little, thinner gloves that you can put underneath the gloves that you're wearing, and it cuts some of the wind and keeps your hand warmer for a little while longer. Then up top, I'll put on, like a couple different long sleeve t-shirts, a short sleeve t-shirt, sweatshirt, and then my leather coat. And I'm pretty good. The way that I suit up normally when it's cold and I have to suit up for it, I'm good riding down to about 20, 25 degrees for up to an hour and a half before I have to pull off and thaw some shit out and keep going. That's not bad, I don't think. And that's without any heated gear. Now, I got some buddies that have heated gear. I think heated gear is cheating, but that's just my personal preference. And as with many things on a motorcycle, everyone has their own preference. I do want to try some out, though, or test it, so I might start researching it and tell y'all what I decide to get. But we are getting into that time of year here. I'm going to give you a bonus. When we went to California the first time, David and I rode out there, it was the first time either one of us had ever taken our motorcycles through a desert. Or been on a motorcycle in the desert, is a good way to put it. And it was really hot. I mean, like 115, 120 degree days, that kind of shit, between 110 and 120. We had a mechanical issue that caused us to need to stop for a little while. We ended up stopping at a Harley-Davidson dealership in Roswell, New Mexico. And while we were there, we met a couple guys. And one of the guys told us, he's like, look, he said, when you go through the desert, he said, I know what I'm getting ready to tell you is counterintuitive, and it's not going to make sense, but I promise you if you try it, you're going to thank me. And what he suggested was, whenever you're in a really hot climate and you're riding, it actually helps you to cover as much of your skin as is possible to cover. But be thoughtful about what you cover it with. In this case, bright colors like whites, grays, fluorescent yellow, orange, that kind of stuff. Because that's going to cause the sun to reflect off your clothes. And I'll be damned if he wasn't right. And ever since that trip, we don't ride anywhere. Anytime it's really sunny and really hot, and we're going to be on the bikes pretty much all day, we have some kind of very light colored long sleeve t-shirt on as the layer that is on top. I hope you guys got something out of the video. I hope that you plan a trip, get out there and ride. Go see something you haven't seen before and do it on two wheels, because there's no better way to do it, in my opinion. You're going to meet a part of this country and meet a part of the world. Experience it in a way that it cannot be experienced any other. I've shared every bit of wisdom that I could today in this short ride. So I'm going to close this video out here. Thank you guys for watching. And always, ride safe. Yeah, ready? 1, 2, 3, shoot. Ah. Asshole.
Really? Peace out, bitches!